Bedtime Story 1 to 10 Story 1 Once upon a time, there was a young boy named Jack who dreamed of becoming a successful entrepreneur. Every night before bed, he would close his eyes and imagine himself running his own business, leading a team of talented individuals, and making a positive impact in the world. One night, as he drifted off to sleep, Jack had a dream that changed his life forever. In his dream, he found himself walking through a magical forest, surrounded by towering trees and shimmering streams. As he wandered through the forest, he came across a wise old owl perched on a branch. As a young boy, Jack had always been fascinated by the idea of running his own business. He spent hours poring over business books and magazines, studying successful entrepreneurs and their strategies for success. But as he grew older, he realized that achieving his dream would be no easy feat. Jack knew that he would have to work hard, learn everything he could about entrepreneurship, and be willing to take risks and face challenges along the way. But despite his determination, he often felt overwhelmed by the enormity of his dream. That's when he had the dream that changed his life. In his dream, Jack found himself in a magical forest filled with wonder and beauty. And it was there that he met the wise old owl, who showed him the key to success. At first, Jack was overjoyed at the thought of finally having the key to success. But then the key spoke to him, and he realized that the true key to success lay not in a physical object, but within himself. From that moment on, Jack was filled with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. He worked tirelessly, studying business strategies and working on his own ideas. And whenever he faced a setback or a challenge, he remembered the wise words of the key and persevered. Years went by, and Jack faced many challenges and setbacks along the way. He launched several businesses, some of which failed, and he struggled to make ends meet at times. But through it all, he never lost sight of his dream. And then one day, it happened. Jack launched a business that took off like wildfire. He had finally achieved his dream of becoming a successful entrepreneur, just as he had always imagined. Looking back, Jack knew that he had the key to thank for his success. But he also knew that the true key lay within himself. For it was his own hard work, determination, and unwavering belief in himself that had led him to where he was today. And so he passed on the lessons he had learned to others, encouraging them to believe in themselves and their own abilities. For he knew that with the right mindset and the right tools, anyone could achieve their dreams, no matter how big or small. Story 2 Once upon a time, there was a little panda living in a bamboo forest in China. The panda was a curious and adventurous little creature, always exploring the world around it and looking for new experiences. One day, while the little panda was playing in the forest, it noticed something strange. There was a small hole in the ground that seemed to lead deep underground. The panda was curious and decided to investigate. As the panda climbed down the hole, it realized that it was a tunnel. It was dark and musty, but the panda kept going, and soon it emerged into a vast underground world. The panda was amazed. It saw animals it had never seen before, and plants that glowed in the dark. The little panda wandered around the underground world, taking in all the sights and sounds. As the panda explored the underground world, it noticed that the animals were all connected. There was a network of tunnels that linked all the different cities and towns together, and only the animals knew about it. The little panda realized that this was a secret path, and that it could use it to reach out to its friends in different parts of the world. The panda's first thought was of its friend, the penguin, who lived all the way at the South Pole. The panda knew that if it traveled normally, the rare flowers that it had picked up along the way would wither and die. But with the secret tunnel, it could reach the penguin in no time. The panda hurriedly put the flowers in a basket and traveled through the secret tunnel to the South Pole. When the little penguin saw the panda arrive with a basket of rare flowers, it was overjoyed. The panda explained how it had discovered the secret tunnel and used it to come all the way to the South Pole. The penguin was amazed and grateful. It hugged the panda tightly and thanked it for making the journey. The little panda then gave the rare flowers to the penguin and asked it to take care of them. The penguin promised to do so and said that it would keep them safe until the next time the panda came to visit. The two friends spent the day together, exploring the South Pole and sharing stories of their adventures. When it was time for the panda to leave, the penguin gave it a warm goodbye and said that it would always be there for the panda. The little panda was touched by the penguin's kindness and promised to visit again soon. As the panda made its way back through the secret tunnel, it thought about all the different animals it could visit using this secret path. It knew that it could travel to the far corners of the world and connect with its friends whenever it wanted. The panda realized that this was the power of connection, and that it was important to stay connected with the people we care about, no matter how far apart we are. The little panda then visited the baby kangaroo in Australia, the little elephant in Africa, and many other friends all over the world. Each time, it used the secret tunnel to make the journey and bring them rare flowers as gifts. Through its travels, the little panda learned the importance of staying connected with its loved ones. It learned that even though they were far apart, they were still connected by the bond of friendship. The panda realized that it had the power to spread love and kindness across the world, and that this was the greatest gift it could give. In the end, the little panda returned home to the bamboo forest in China. It was tired but happy, and it knew that it had made a difference in the lives of its friends all over the world. The panda felt grateful for the discovery of the secret tunnel and for the power of connection that had allowed it to stay connected with its loved ones. Story 3. Once upon a time, in a lush green forest, there was a curious monkey who loved to observe and imitate the actions of humans and other animals. He would spend hours perched on the highest branches of a towering tree, peering down at the creatures below and trying to understand their habits and behaviors. One day, the monkey noticed a group of fishermen casting their nets into a nearby river. He watched intently as they worked, fascinated by the way they used their tools and coordinated their efforts to catch fish. As the sun began to set, the fishermen decided to call it a day and headed home for dinner, leaving their nets behind on the riverbank. The monkey saw his chance to try his hand at fishing and eagerly descended from his perch. He cautiously approached the abandoned net and examined it closely, trying to understand how it worked. After a few moments of careful study, he picked up the net in his hands and began to mimic the fisherman's movements. With a powerful throw, the monkey launched the net into the river, hoping to catch some fish of his own. But as the net descended into the water, the monkey suddenly found himself entangled in its meshes. Panicked and disoriented, the monkey struggled to free himself from the tangled net, but it was too late. As he gasped for breath and felt the cold water rising around him, he realized his mistake. With his last breath, the monkey thought to himself, "I am rightly served. For what business had I who had never handled a net to try and catch fish?" The moral of the story is clear. Those who pretend to be something they are not, or attempt to imitate skills they do not possess, will sooner or later find themselves in deep water. It's important to be true to yourself and your own abilities, and to not be swayed by the actions or expectations of others. The monkey's curiosity and eagerness to learn were admirable traits, but in his haste to imitate the fisherman, he forgot to take into account his own limitations and lack of experience. As a result, he paid the ultimate price for his folly. This story serves as a reminder to us all to be mindful of our own abilities and limitations, and to not be tempted to pretend to be something we are not. It's important to take the time to learn and develop our skills and talents, rather than rushing headlong into situations that may be beyond our capabilities. In the end, it's not about trying to be someone else or achieving someone else's goals, but about staying true to ourselves and working to become the best possible version of who we are. Only then can we achieve true success and fulfillment in life. Story 4. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there was a brave little knight named William. William lived in a small village at the foot of a great mountain range. From a young age, William dreamed of becoming a knight, a protector of the realm. His parents, being farmers, were not too keen on the idea, but William was determined to make his dream come true. One day, a great dragon appeared in the kingdom. The dragon was big, fierce, and breathed fire. He terrorized the villages, burning crops, and eating livestock. The people of the kingdom were terrified, and no one knew how to defeat the dragon. William, being the brave little knight he was, decided to take matters into his own hands. He put on his shining armor and set out to find the dragon. The journey was long and perilous, but William didn't give up. He crossed rivers, climbed mountains, and traversed dark forests. Finally, he arrived at the dragon's lair. The dragon was massive and menacing, but William stood his ground. He unsheathed his sword and charged at the dragon. The dragon breathed fire, but William was quick and agile, dodging the flames and striking the dragon with his sword. The battle was intense and lasted for hours. The dragon was strong, but William was determined. Finally, with one swift strike, William defeated the dragon. But as the dragon lay dying, William saw something that surprised him. The dragon's eyes were filled with tears, and he spoke in a weak voice, "I was once a prince, cursed by a wicked witch to become a dragon. I have been searching for a brave knight who can defeat me and break the curse. William was taken aback by this revelation. He had never heard of such a thing before. But he was also touched by the dragon's plight. He put down his sword and approached the dragon. He listened as the dragon told him his story. He heard of the witch who had cursed him, of the long and lonely years he had spent searching for someone to break the curse, and of the sadness that filled his heart. William knew what he had to do. He took out a potion he had brought with him and poured it over the dragon. And just like that, the dragon turned back into a prince. The prince thanked William and promised to repay him in any way he could. William asked the prince to use his magic to help the people of the kingdom. And the prince, true to his word, used his magic to help the people of the kingdom, and they all lived happily ever after. From that day forward, William was known as the bravest knight in the kingdom. But he also became known as the kindest, for he had shown mercy to a creature that others had deemed a monster. And he had learned that even the fiercest of beasts could have a heart filled with sorrow. Story 5. Once upon a time, there was a kind-hearted boy named Jack. Jack loved to help others in any way he could. He was known for his generosity and selflessness in his village. One day, Jack was walking in the forest when he came across a poor, hungry man. The man asked Jack if he had any food to spare. Jack had a loaf of bread that his mother had given him for his journey, but he didn't hesitate to give it to the man. The man was extremely grateful, and Jack felt a sense of joy in his heart for being able to help someone in need. As he continued on his journey, Jack saw a group of children playing, but one of them was crying because he had lost his ball in the bushes. Without hesitation, Jack helped the child look for his ball, and they found it together. The child was very happy, and Jack felt happy too, knowing that he had made a difference in someone's life. As the sun began to set, Jack was on his way back home when he saw an old woman struggling to carry her basket of groceries. Jack offered to carry the basket for her, and she was grateful for his help. She asked him if there was anything she could do to repay him, but Jack simply smiled and said, "Just pass on the kindness." When Jack reached home, his mother asked him about his day. Jack told her about the hungry man, the crying child, and the old woman he had helped. His mother was proud of him and said, "You truly are a giver, Jack." The next day, Jack woke up to find a note from the old woman at his doorstep. She had left a basket of fresh fruits and vegetables for him as a token of her appreciation. Jack smiled and realized that being a giver not only made him feel good, but it also brought blessings into his life. As time passed, Jack's reputation as a giver grew, and people started coming to him for help. He helped anyone in need, whether it was a friend or a stranger. He never asked for anything in return, but people still showed their appreciation by giving him small tokens of their gratitude. One day, a rich merchant came to Jack and offered him a large sum of money for all the good deeds he had done. Jack refused, saying that he didn't help others for money. The merchant was impressed by Jack's selflessness and offered him a job instead. Jack accepted the job and became the merchant's assistant. Years went by, and Jack became a successful businessman. He was known for his honesty and generosity, and people admired him for it. One day, a young boy came to Jack and asked him, "Why do you help people, even if they can't help you back?" Jack smiled and replied, "Being a giver is dignified. It's not about getting something in return, but about making a difference in someone's life. When you give, you receive something even more valuable, the satisfaction of knowing that you've made a positive impact on someone else's life." The young boy nodded and said, "I want to be a giver too." Jack smiled and said, "Then start by helping someone today. It doesn't have to be a big gesture, even a small act of kindness can make a difference. And always remember, being a giver is dignified." And with that, the young boy left, inspired to make a positive impact in the world, just like Jack. Story 6. Once upon a time, there was a curious young girl named Lily. She loved nothing more than exploring the world around her, discovering new things and going on adventures. One day, while out for a walk, Lily stumbled upon a hidden garden tucked away in a quiet corner of the forest. She had never seen it before, and she was immediately drawn to its beauty and mystery. As she stepped inside the garden, Lily felt as though she had entered a secret world, one that was filled with enchanting secrets waiting to be discovered. The garden was filled with an abundance of colorful flowers and plants, each one more beautiful than the last. The scent of lavender and roses filled the air, and the sound of birds chirping in the trees added to the garden's peaceful ambience. As Lily wandered through the garden, she noticed a small stone path that led to a wooden gate. She hesitated for a moment, wondering if she should continue on, but her curiosity got the best of her. Slowly, she opened the gate and stepped through, ready to explore whatever lay beyond. To her surprise, Lily found herself in a beautiful meadow filled with wildflowers and butterflies. In the center of the meadow stood a grand oak tree, its branches stretching up towards the sky. Curiosity once again getting the best of her, Lily approached the tree and discovered a small door hidden in its trunk. Without hesitation, Lily opened the door and found herself in a secret room. The walls were covered in vines and flowers, and in the center of the room sat a small fountain. Lily noticed that the water in the fountain was glowing with a soft, warm light. She reached out and touched the water, and suddenly, she was transported to a magical world filled with wonders she had never seen before. In this new world, Lily met magical creatures like unicorns and fairies, and she learned to speak their language. She explored enchanted forests and castles, and even discovered a secret underwater kingdom filled with mermaids and sea creatures. Lily spent many happy days exploring this magical world, but eventually, it was time to return home. She knew that she could always come back to the secret garden and the magical world beyond, but for now, she was content to have had the adventure of a lifetime. The story of Lily and the hidden garden is one of curiosity and wonder. It shows that sometimes, the most amazing adventures can be found in the most unexpected places. It also teaches children to embrace their curiosity and to always be open to new experiences. Story 7. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a boy named Sam. He was known for his laziness, and he never liked to work hard. He would spend his days lying around and doing nothing, while everyone else in the village was busy working and achieving their goals. One day, Sam was lying under a tree, watching the clouds pass by when he saw a tiny ant carrying a big grain of rice. He laughed at the ant and said, "You silly ant, why are you working so hard? You should take it easy like me and enjoy life." The ant replied, "I am working hard to store food for the winter. If I don't work now, I will not survive the cold winter months." Sam laughed again and said, "Winter? That's so far away. I'll worry about it when it comes. For now, I'm going to enjoy my lazy days." Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Sam continued to be lazy, while the other villagers worked hard and accomplished great things. They built new homes, planted new crops, and made the village a better place to live. As the winter approached, the villagers started to prepare for the cold months ahead. They stocked up on food, gathered firewood, and made sure their homes were well insulated. Sam, on the other hand, had done nothing to prepare for the winter. One cold night, Sam realized his mistake. He was hungry, cold, and alone. He wished he had worked hard like everyone else and prepared for the winter. As he lay shivering in the cold, he remembered the ant he had laughed at and realized the importance of hard work. The next morning, Sam got up early and started working. He helped the other villagers prepare for the winter and worked hard every day. He realized that laziness would only lead to regret, and hard work was the key to success. As the winter passed, Sam felt a sense of accomplishment. He had learned the value of hard work and the importance of preparation. He had also earned the respect of his fellow villagers, who now saw him as a hard-working and responsible member of the community. From this story, we learn that laziness can lead to regret, and hard work is the key to success. We should always work hard and prepare for the future, no matter how far away it may seem. Only then can we achieve our goals and live a happy and fulfilling life. Story 8. Once upon a time, in a vast forest, there lived a young man named Tom. He had no friends but longed for companionship. One day, while wandering in the forest, he stumbled upon a tiny fox lying injured on the ground. Without hesitation, Tom took the fox to his home and nursed him back to health. Days turned into weeks, and the little fox recovered from his injuries. Tom had grown fond of his new friend and enjoyed spending time with him. Every day, they explored the forest together, Tom teaching the fox new things about the world and the fox introducing Tom to the wonders of nature. One day, while out on their adventures, they came across a beautiful meadow filled with wildflowers of every color. Tom lay down in the meadow, enjoying the warmth of the sun on his face. The fox, however, was not content to just lay there. He wanted to play, to run, and to explore. Tom, feeling tired and lazy, didn't want to get up from the grassy meadow. But the fox nudged him, urging him to join in the fun. Tom was hesitant at first, but eventually gave in to the fox's persistence. Together, they ran through the meadow, the fox leading the way, and Tom following close behind. Tom realized that he had been lazy, and it was his friend, the fox, who inspired him to be active and adventurous. As the sun began to set, they returned home, both tired but happy. Tom realized that he was lucky to have a friend like the fox, who brought joy and adventure into his life. From that day on, Tom was more active and spent less time being lazy. He learned that having a friend, like the fox, gave him motivation and inspiration to achieve more than he ever thought possible. So, children, the lesson we can learn from this story is that friendship is essential in life. Friends motivate and inspire us to be the best version of ourselves. They teach us new things, introduce us to new experiences, and help us grow. It's important to make friends and cherish them, for they are the ones who will always be there for us, through thick and thin. Story 9. Once upon a time, in a far-off land, there was a young boy named Jack. Jack was a bright and ambitious young boy with big dreams and goals. One day, he decided that he wanted to climb the highest mountain in the land. This was no small task, as the mountain was known for being steep and treacherous. But Jack was determined, and he set off on his journey. At first, the climb was easy. The sun was shining, and the birds were singing. But as he climbed higher and higher, the path became steeper and more difficult. The wind started to pick up, and the air grew colder. Despite this, Jack refused to give up. He kept his eyes on the peak of the mountain, and he continued to climb. As he climbed, he encountered many obstacles. There were rocks and boulders in his way, and the wind threatened to blow him off the mountain. But every time he faced an obstacle, he persevered. He found a way around the rocks and held on tight against the wind. He refused to let the obstacles defeat him. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Jack reached the peak of the mountain. He was exhausted, and his clothes were torn and dirty. But he had made it. He had climbed the highest mountain in the land. As he looked out over the stunning view, he realized that the obstacles he had faced on his journey had made his success even sweeter. Without the obstacles, the achievement would not have been as significant. He had proven to himself that he could overcome any challenge that came his way. As he made his way back down the mountain, he realized that this journey had taught him an important lesson. He understood that perseverance was the key to success. He had learned that no matter how difficult the obstacles may seem, with determination and perseverance, he could overcome them. When he returned home, he shared his story with his friends and family. He told them about the obstacles he had faced and the perseverance he had shown. He encouraged them to never give up on their dreams, no matter how difficult the journey may be. From that day on, Jack continued to pursue his dreams with perseverance and determination. And he inspired others to do the same. For he knew that it was through perseverance that one could achieve greatness and overcome any obstacle that life may throw their way. In conclusion, the story of Jack's journey to climb the highest mountain teaches us that obstacles are a natural part of life, and we should not let them stop us from achieving our goals. Instead, we should face them with determination and perseverance. The path to success may be difficult, but with hard work and a never-give-up attitude, we can overcome any obstacle and achieve greatness. So, if you encounter any obstacles in your life, remember the story of Jack and let it inspire you to keep pushing forward. Story 10. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between mountains and lush green fields, there lived a little rabbit named Remy. Remy was known throughout the village for being extremely frugal. He was always looking for ways to save money and make the most of what he had. His friends would often tease him, calling him stingy, but Remy knew that his frugality would come in handy one day. One day, while out on a walk, Remy stumbled upon a small pile of coins lying in a clearing. He couldn't believe his luck. He picked up the coins and counted them. There were 10 in total. Remy knew that he had to be careful with his newfound wealth. He decided to save the coins and add to them each day. Over the next few weeks, Remy saved every coin he found. He stopped buying sweets and treats, and instead, he saved every penny. His friends continued to tease him, but Remy remained steadfast in his goal to save money. One day, Remy's friend, a little bird named Benny, came to him with a problem. Benny's nest had been destroyed in a storm, and he needed to find a new home. Benny had been saving for months, but he didn't have enough money to buy a new nest. Remy knew he had to help his friend. He gave Benny all the coins he had saved, and together they went to the market to find a new nest. With Remy's savings and Benny's contributions, they were able to find a beautiful new nest that was even better than the old one. As they walked back to the village, Benny thanked Remy for his help. "You're such a good friend, Remy," he said. "I don't know what I would have done without you." Remy smiled and replied, "That's what friends are for. I'm just happy I could help." As they reached the village, Remy's other friends came to greet them. They were surprised to see Remy walking with Benny, but even more surprised when they saw the new nest. "How did you afford that?" one of them asked. Remy smiled and replied, "I saved for it." You see, being frugal and saving your money can really pay off in the end. From that day on, Remy's friends began to see the value of frugality and saving. They started to save their own money and were amazed at how quickly it added up. They realized that having a little bit of money set aside could help them in times of need, just like it had helped Benny. And so, Remy's frugality not only helped him, but it also helped his friends. They learned that saving money was not about being stingy, but about being smart and prepared for whatever life may bring. The moral of the story is that saving money is important. It may seem hard to resist buying things we want in the moment, but if we save a little bit each day, it can really add up in the long run. By being diligent and frugal, we can be prepared for whatever life may bring our way.